Well, I have made 7 videos, not including the introduction, and here we are finally getting out of 1992. I started in late June. So, expect a lot of videos. Now, Maria continued to call me whenever she wanted. Scheduled to call every Saturday, I think it was. Call and collect, which was extremely expensive, from Honduras. A long time ago, folks. Long before cell phones. Well, she called me whenever she liked, so she would be a week, sometimes even 2 weeks late in calling me. She was back with him, I'm sure, her ex-boyfriend. A lot of the events that were going on down there I would find out about later. This went on, I think it was, I don't remember, either April or May of 93 when I got a phone call from her. Now, she suddenly started bringing up again the fact that this child was mine. I didn't want to accept that for a number of reasons. Maria was culpable in this, every bit as much as I was. She had lied to me over and over and over again. We had an argument. I don't remember the conversation at all, really, now. But a week later, the time that I was expecting a phone call from Maria, I got a call from a doctor in Honduras. Now, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me. I did understand that Maria was in the hospital. Overreacted, I think, to something he said. Because I thought that he was telling me, I'm a bit melodramatic, I thought he was telling me that Maria was dead. Mortis. Well, she wasn't dead, but because I didn't understand him and everything he was telling me, I had to get somebody over there to the house to accept a phone call who understood Spanish. So I called up and asked, I think my parents actually called him, the guy who was the head of our little group down there in Honduras, the one I had such a blowout with. He had been raised in Honduras for some point in his childhood, for some reason. So he spoke Spanish. He came over and he received the phone call and talked to him. Well, what I found out was that Maria, for some reason, had fallen ill. I'll get into the details of that later when I find out in the course of this linear timeline here. She had fallen ill and had gone to the hospital, and she had delivered prematurely. They had to induce labor, and the child was born, a boy. Now this fell just along the time frame that had Maria been with her boyfriend, and had he fathered the baby during the period of time when I left the first time and came back the second. It fell right along the time frame of 9 months. So it was further indication to me that this baby was not mine. Maria was fine. Well, she was in the hospital, but she recovered from that. Here we're going into the summer months again. So it had been a year since we had met. Well, the church that my parents went to had decided to go back down to Honduras for another year. Well, of course, they weren't going to want me down there. So I begged my father to go. Oh God, he did not want to go. He did not want to go down there. And I hand it to you, Dad. That is definitely something that you did for me. So, I was talking to Maria about getting up here. Now she's had the baby. Okay, a couple months. Now she can come up here. Listen, I never had a child before then. I have since. I know how callous I was and uncaring. I know now. I wanted her up here. I wanted to be with her. And we were talking about it and talking about it. My dad went down there in late June again, I guess. So in late June, my dad goes back down there with a little group doing the same thing. This guy who was the head of this group's daughter had gone down there. She was 19-ish. Known her before. I was a little friendly with her while I was down there the first time, but she got really friendly. This guy had just ridden me for what I had done, and his daughter turns around the next time she goes down there, the second time too. She ends up getting one of these guys so infatuated with her that he asked her to marry him. Anyway, my dad went down there to help Maria figure out how to walk into the goddamn embassy put her visa down and get a fucking stamp on it called a freaking passport down and get a visa. Thing was, Maria didn't have her passport anymore at that point. That's why she was having such trouble, because she had sold the passport that I had worked my ass off to get for her. Working my ass off as far as kissing that son of... Excuse me. Kissing that man, Joseph's ass. She had ended up selling it. I mean, she never came out and told me that, but duh. My dad went down there. Don't have a lot of time to go into this. She was working in a bar again, not unlike the other bar she worked in. It was obvious to my dad, who was older than I am, obviously, that Maria was not wife material. Needless to say, not going into detail, she didn't do anything to try to get her visa. No wonder, because she didn't have her damn passport anymore. She had sold it. Oh, what a dumb woman. God, what a dumb woman. So my dad was down there a while. I also got a call from Joseph telling me that Maria had been screwing around. He had seen her many times with her old boyfriend. Oh, and now he can get me a divorce. What a guy. What a great guy. This was all in the summer, late June, early July, 93. My dad's down there in Honduras. It didn't look very good for Maria and my relationship at that point. She didn't seem to want to come up here, and she was obviously screwing around. So, when I talked to her again, after all this that I was told, I told her I never wanted to see her again. That summer, 93, was quite possibly the worst time of my life. And some bad times that I've had. We'll have to get into that in the next video.